And this is why you have a franchise quarterback. This is why you pay that franchise quarterback, because now here you go. What are you going to do? What are you going to say? How are you going to play? I think Jalen Hurts is someone who does not rattle, who is not emotional, who is not running to social media, who will not subtweet, he will not change avatars, he will not shade anything. And I think that is one of his best qualities, is that his pulse is like that. And we have seen it for years, whether it is going toe-to-toe with Mahomes in the Super Bowl, whether it is getting benched in the title game in college and still coming out and celebrating with your team, whether it's when you're walking off the field in Washington and the stands collapse and almost kill you and you don't even blink. That guy is very calm and very chill, and I think that is one of his best assets, specifically on that team. With that coach, in that media market, now with these wide receivers, Jalen Hurts may not be your favorite player, but he is calm and collected. I'm not saying he lights it up every week, but he is calm and collected, and I feel like for Philadelphia, there's a deja vu feeling here, and if you're watching social media yesterday, Donovan's out there chirping. T.O. is then chirping Donovan, and this feels different to me because Donovan McNabb was a guy who is, I am the star, I am Donovan, I am the prince that was promised, I'm going to lead Philadelphia to the promised land, and he's got all these little role player wide receivers, and it's just fine. Well, in comes T.O., and I don't think Donovan liked it. I don't think he handled it well, and if you ask Philadelphia Eagle fans to look back on that, Donovan was a baby, and Donovan was a prima donna, and blah, 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 couldn't take it. I think Jalen Hurts can take it.
Let me talk my shit again.
What it do? This is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. Before we get into this video and really breaking down how we should absolutely have a convincing win going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, at the link, please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Thank you in advance. But as we have every week, actually before we get into the injury report, as you heard Kyle Brandt mention, eloquently said, not only did A.J. Brown say something that was true and it was critical and really people took it and ran with it, because obviously he cleared it up. I think their relationship is fine, and really their working relationship has made things a little more complex because people forget Jalen Hurts is the godfather of A.J. Brown's daughter. And whatever the relationship is, whether it may be shaky or not, I'm sure those guys are still brothers, but you know well and good, when you're working with family, that just complicates things a little more than you would probably like. But ultimately, when it came to someone who should have absolutely not said a word, BG Brandon Graham, a captain, a leader, a vet on this team, absolutely spoke out of turn. My dog, love you, BG, but the fact that you're not suiting up for another game this season means you should not be in front of another mic for the entirety of the season. I hope you learned your lesson. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the injury report for this week. It is a great one, not only because virtually everybody's back. Unfortunately, Britton Covey's not going to be suited up for this game, which is not great because this is I would rather him than Cooper DeJean returning punts. But fortunately for us, we're going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not only do they now have their starting safety and Deshaun Elliott, we have our safeties back, starter and backup, but we're going against Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson, I feel like before his stint in Denver was probably going to be a Hall of Famer, second ballot, if not possibly first ballot. But we're going against a guy that not only is over the hill when it comes to his prime, I mean, this is a guy that just does goofy things. And I think guys that just do goofy things just cannot be, you can't fear these kind of quarterbacks. I showed y'all Bryce Young last game, or last week in terms of that clip. And this is a guy in Russell Wilson, which I respect, but simulating huddles and breaking it down, it cracks me up because this is a guy earlier in this season, not even activated for a game when he was playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And where was he on the sideline? Fully suited up and shoulder pads and a helmet strapped. That is some goofy ass shit, man. And if you're playing against a goofy quarterback, not to say if as a player take him seriously, but as a fan, what you want me to do? I just don't understand that, because as you heard Kyle Brandt said, whether we're at a high or a low, Jalen Hurts is right here even keeled. Unlike guys like Russell Wilson that it can be in their own world. And ultimately, we know the passing game has not been what we expected or what we wanted. But not only is Jalen Hurts very familiar with A.J. Brown, both of these guys are very familiar with this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The targets and the receptions and the yardage absolutely down at this point in time in the season when it comes to those guys. But the thing that is glaring and the most important thing to me, when the opportunities are there, especially when it comes to this season, these guys have been cashing. I mean, from 2022, it was 114 passer rating. In 2023, it was 100.6 passer rating. In 2024, 128.7 passer rating is the highest when targeting any receiver. And to me, that means he just needs more opportunities. Because we know when it came to that Pittsburgh Steelers matchup just 2 years ago, I mean, going into that season, people had a lot of concerns and a lot of shit to say when it came to Jalen Hurts and his ability to pass the ball. But not only did he become an All-Pro, A.J. Brown was the first time in his career an All-Pro and having a phenomenal season. In this game alone, 6 catches, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I don't know if that's not a coming out party, I don't know what is. But a guy that absolutely should have a coming out party this season, if not this game, Smitty Devontae Smith. I mean, this is just long overdue at this point. I mean, this is just long overdue. Yes, he scored a touchdown in the last week's game. Yes, he scored a touchdown. We're talking about a guy that's not had over 100 yards. We're talking about a guy that's not had over 100 yards this season, and that's purely because even with AJ not being in the lineup. Not having OJ not being over 100 yards to me is definitely over 100 yards to me is definitely be it Moore as well as Jalen Hurts. Be it because the guy just needs opportunities. It doesn't matter if it's on a simple drag route, a dominant back of the end zone with a one-handed catch. Give the man some targets and let him work because the guy is a Biletnikoff, best receiving college receiver award winner. He's that for a reason. Not only did he break Deshaun Jackson's rookie record for yardage in his rookie season, this is a guy that's had over 1,000 yards since A.J. Brown has been here. Back-to-back seasons. Clearly, that's not going to happen this year. But my man he just needs the opportunities to shine and let him work. But ultimately, when it comes down to our offense going against, I feel like a very respectable front four, T.J. Watt, Nick Herbig, Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, those guys are really good. Nobody's playing the running back position better than Saquon Barkley. And when it comes to neutralizing a great defensive line and a great pass rush, having a number one rushing attack and a best running back in all of football is the ultimate answer. I mean, even going against, because the Pittsburgh Steelers are by far one of the best rushing defenses in all of football, top 4, along with just under 100 yards per game. I believe at 91 point something, if not 92 yards. The Ravens are not only better than that right now, allowing just 82 yards per game. Before the game in which they played the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe they're allowing like 77 yards. And now they're at 82 yards per game purely because of what Saquon did. Putting over 100 yards and with this stamp on the game, closed it out. Because when it comes to the ultimate game changer, closer, momentum shifter, whatever you want to call it, passing the ball to him, running the ball, this guy's just unstoppable. Again, when it comes to this offense and these guys that are absolute studs, and AJ, Saquon, and Smitty, they just need opportunities. Obviously, the quarterback has a lot to do with that, but the scheme and the play calling has a huge factor in that as well. Obviously, you got to be able to pass block in order to be able to pass the ball. But these guys just need the proper play call and let Jalen Hurts pull the trigger, which I firmly believe he will because this is a guy that's done it before. Why can't he do it again? Makes no sense to me. And obviously, we're going against a Pittsburgh Steelers team that is 10-3, that's been playing pretty well offensively and defensively, playing great complementary football. But when it comes to this defense and what it's been able to do the last 9 on this 9-game win streak, and really going against the number 1 offense in all of football, going against the Ravens, I don't think these Pittsburgh Steelers are ready. Because when it comes to a quarterback that is absolutely very difficult to bring down, especially when it comes to sacks, there's nobody tougher than Lamar Jackson. And having a guy like Jalen Carter, having a guy like Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, I mean, these guys have been on a different level this year. Not only the Georgia Bulldogs, but you have a guy like Josh Sweat as well as Milton Williams stepping up, realizing that these young Bulls are not here to play and they will take your spot in a moment's notice. All these guys have been stepping up, and it's just been great to see, especially in a game like this going against the Ravens, because Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are nobody. You can't sleep on these guys. You got to take them seriously, and you got to show up. And when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers being able to withstand a 4-man rush, which is what the Eagles do very well, it's like the parallels are crazy. The Eagles are 4th when it comes to pressure with a 4-man rush. These Steelers are the 4th worst team with allowing pressure against 4-man rushers. And when that's happening to Russell Wilson, the guy's completing just 30% of his passes. Completing is 30% of your passes is horrible. Not having your number one target, hey, man, I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I firmly believe we're going to win this game very convincingly, and it's going to look probably similar to this game of going against the Baltimore Ravens, where these guys had 12 points with like a minute left in the game. And this is a team that averages close to 30 points, if not over 30 points, for the entirety of the season. With that being said, again, do I think it's going to be a blow in this game? I don't. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers, though they are our neighbors in Pennsylvania, and they clearly can match up well against us, I just don't feel like they have enough on either side of the ball. They're not going to be able to stop Saquon. AJ and Smith are going to be involved early and often to where we're going to have a balanced attack. And when it comes to the defensive side, having the number 2 pass defense in all of football, a top-tier defense, period, in terms of total yardage, great when it comes to four rushers. There's just not enough with no George Pickens. But when it comes to guys still having questions and really just hating on Jalen Hurts, I want y'all to hear this dickhead and really someone making an ass out of themselves, because at this point I'm kind of done talking about them. I want y'all to hear him say just an asinine statement.
Don't you think it would just be a lot easier and all this attention would go away if the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, would just go up to the press today and be like, look, I have not played like I should play. I'm accountable for it. I got to do a better job. End of story.
Yes.
Like, it's such easy words to say, yet we have not heard him say anything like that.
Is Carolina doing right,
Easy,
and
right?
where did that game kind of go in your opinion?
Yeah, I think they did a good job. I think we did a bad job. That starts with me, how I execute. And
Like, it's such easy words to say, yet we have not heard him say anything.
I think easier words to say, especially for a guy like Chase Daniels, is to say, not only was I career backup, I shouldn't have the right to speak on a guy like Jalen Hurts, because I just don't know I don't know what it takes. I don't know what it feels like to play at a high level like he has over the course of his short career. And for him to jump out there and say this guy's never taken accountability, and 3 days prior to that dumbass statement, that's exactly what he did on the podium. I mean, it is very simple to do a simple Google search, even search on Twitter, and find these things. But this is a guy that is paid to be loud and wrong for 5 days out of the week. I mean, I really wish I had that luxury, and clearly I don't, which is why I'm so passionate about this podcast. Not only talking my shit, but bringing y'all simple facts, because these are the people that are paid just to lie or just to look idiotic. Whether he's lying or he's being willfully ignorant, you're wrong in the end. And at this point, I don't think we should be wasting our time on really harping on these dudes. I like to show it purely because not only is it just showing the fact that people just hate to hate, people are just loud and wrong. And at this point, we can't stand for that. What comes with talking our shit is putting people in their place. And a guy like Chase Daniels should know his place, which is a backup. You've been a career backup. You were not good at football. You were not good enough to start. It doesn't seem like you're good at being an analyst either, because just 3 days prior to you making that dumbass statement, he did what you said he has never done. I don't know, man. With these kind of dudes, you kind of just say your piece and you keep it moving, and we keep talking our shit, because that's what this podcast is all about. And with that being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. We out to the next one. Peace.